lot of you guys probably have not been to one of our events before, but this is pretty much the UNLV Dental School Business Club. We have events bring in private practice owners, everyone in the dental industry on the business side, accountants, lawyers, wealth advisors, the whole nine yards, just talking about the business side of dentistry and everything we don't learn in dental school. So today we have Dr. Paul Goodman. For those of you who do not know him, he is a private practice owner, a dental broker, and he runs Dental Nachos and Dentist Job Connect. And Dr. Paul Goodman, I think you'll probably be better at explaining what those are than I will.
Sure.
If you take it.
Awesome. Well, this is my daughter on National Guacamole Day. It's a real day at Alvez. I always think guac gratitude is the highest level of thanks. So we're healing this group. I think it is amazing you guys are doing this. I'm honored to be a part of it. I don't mind doing it at 9 p.m. Just I said to you guys, if we finished watching Hotel Transylvania, my small humans are going to bed. So this is a great time to share. Also, my awesome team member, Morgan from Dental Nachos and Dentist Job Connect is on here in the chat. So if you have any questions for her about what we do, you can connect with her. We will record this, edit it, and send it to you guys to share with your friends. One of the things I would encourage you to do as I play this first video is this is a unique opportunity because I'm here in person. This is real Paul Goodman. So you can ask me any questions you want about you. One of my favorite things to do is to produce all kinds of content that help with clinical dentistry, communication skills, business skills. I put it onto Nacho On Demand CE. I think at this point, I've done hundreds of hours of podcasting. I have 500 plus videos on my YouTube channel. So you can consume nachos at any time like that via recordings. But this is a cool opportunity for us to spend this time together. So please think of a question that you want to ask me about your life. You could be as specific as possible. This is for you guys, so I have plenty of content to share. But what I'd like to start out by sharing with you is immediate value. So too often when speakers are asked to speak, they talk about their history, who they had as a third grade teacher, what their favorite burr is, and it just bores you. But what if you just start with immediate value? And it's to teach you, when you talk to patients, start with immediate value. When you talk to someone to apply for a job, start with immediate value. So if you only listen to these 3.5 minutes, you'll leave better than when you started, because you should most definitely not say these words in your dental practice. And while you're watching this video, think of a question, drop it in the chat, drop it in the Q&A. Would love to answer it.
Does your dentist say words to you that make you feel weird, scared, and afraid? Well, it's not your dentist's fault, because they went to dental school. And in dental school, we are taught to talk really, really weird. You may have a hygienist as well. She's also taught to talk really, really weird. My name is Dr. Paul Goodman, Dr. Nacho, and I am helping dentists and hygienists everywhere not talk weird. So I've come up with 5 words you should not say in a dental office. 5 words that will make your patients feel scared, feel weird, feel afraid, and make you unlikable. So what are these 5 words? So we're going to go through don't say this, say this. The first word is fail or failed. There's no reason we have to look at a patient who's had a bridge in place for 20 years and say, Millie, your bridge has failed. It's unlikable, it's mean, and it doesn't even make sense because cars don't last that long. So instead of failed, how about we say this? Hey, Millie, it's time to replace your bridge. So don't say fail, say replace. What's next? My personal favorite, the one that makes you feel so weird on the inside when you say it. If a tooth does not have a filling, we are taught to call those teeth virgins. Does that make you feel comfortable to hear the word virgin? Instead of saying virgin, how about saying tooth without a filling? This tooth doesn't have a filling, not that it's a virgin. The third thing is save. We often say to patients, we can't save this tooth. So dramatic, like it's Private Premolar Ryan and Tom Hanks is coming to save it. So instead of that, say, hey, the cavity here has gotten so deep, we cannot maintain this tooth. So to review, don't say fail, say replace. Don't say virgin, say tooth without a filling. Don't say save, say maintain. We have 2 more. Informed consent, so dramatic. I'm going to give you an informed consent for a root canal. Now, what could you call an informed consent? A heads up. I'm going to give you a heads up what can happen. So you can have an informed consent form where it says informed consent, but as you bring it to life for patients, say, I'm going to give you a heads up. Most of the time things go really, really well, but these are some things you should know about your procedure. I'm going to give you a heads up, whether it's a root canal, scaling and root planing a crown. And the final one is the P word. Do not say this P word. And that P word is policy. No one likes to hear that word. You don't like it, I don't like it, and our patients don't like it. So you may have a financial policy where everyone pays before treatment. That's cool. But instead of saying policy, why don't you call it protocol? So don't say policy, say protocol. So these are the 5 words you should not say to be less weird and more likable in the dental office. Don't say fail, say replaced. Don't say virgin, say tooth without a filling. Don't say save, say maintained. Don't say informed consent, say heads up. Don't say policy, say protocol. If I can help you in any way, just reach out to me at dentalnachos.com. It is my life's goal to help you talk less weird.
So they're all right off the bat, guys. We can have 5 words not to say. Words matter so much when you're talking to patients, when you're talking to each other. Dental school, for some reason, teaches us to say things like hopeless prognosis, failed, we can't save it. So you can reframe these words by just saying words that are more patient friendly. It matters so much. When you're a new dentist, a lot of times people won't trust you because you look young, you look like you're new at doing this. Happened to me, happens to everyone. So if you use words that inspire confidence, inspire likability, it's so important. I can do like 3 or 4 things well. I lose my AirPods while they're in my ear. I cannot cook anything. I need people to turn on my computer for me. That's a true story. But one of the things I've spent a lot of time doing is public speaking, how to speak to patients, how to speak to dentists. I've had the awesome opportunity to speak to 600 dentists and people at the Mark Costas Dental Success Summit. Definitely check that out. Every year, I go every year. It's fantastic. I get to speak to Einstein GPR residents. And this is one of the best pieces of content and advice on how to present yourself. Patrick Winston passed away, I think, a few years ago. This has 13 million YouTube views. I wish I found this earlier in my career. So if you don't think you're a public speaker, and if you don't want to be a public speaker, you should not become a dentist, because I was at my dental practice today, and public speaking is speaking to that one patient. So I highly recommend you jot down, put in your iPhone notes, How to Speak by Patrick Winston. Totally free for you to watch, learn. I listen to it at least 10 times per year. So what was I asked to do by the awesome Raheel? And that was, what is my empowerment promise? So in Patrick Winston, How to Speak, he talks about your empowerment promise. What are you going to promise your audience? So Raheel asked was, what dental school does not teach dental students, was one of the questions. How to succeed after graduation. What to do now to prepare. What should you do now to prepare? So I want to promise that I layer in, top this lecture, top this webinar with all types of opportunities for you to do better. So what does dental school not teach? Dental school does not teach patient communication, business skills, and how to manage being part of a dental circus. A dental practice is like a dental circus where the animals don't try to eat you, just slowly annoy you to death. It is awesome to be a dentist at times. It is awful to be a dentist sometimes. It is amazing to be an associate sometimes, and it is annoying to be an associate sometimes. And dental school does not teach you these survival skills that you need every day, because dental school just keeps on being dental school no matter what. The patients sometimes are lifers at the dental school. I'm grateful for my dental school patients. I don't know who else would sit through a 17-visit denture in the real world. But dental school often does not have the pressures of surviving in the same way as private practice. So that's something dental school does not teach. To succeed after graduation, start developing your dentisting core right now. So what is dentisting? It's a word I made up. Dentisting is full contact arts and crafts on people that don't want to be there or pay for it. One of the toughest parts about being a dentist is we work 6 inches away from our customers. And even though they need what we're doing, they don't want it. And that can be very, very, very exhausting. So the only way to survive in this marathon of a career is to develop your dental core. And in dental school, they focus mainly on clinical skills. But in the real world, post-dental school, you need to have your mind skills, treatment planning, business decisions, word skills, hand skills, and heart skills. So what would I do if I went back to dental school and I was a dental student now? I would focus on opportunities outside of dental school. Boost camps run by us, Dental Nachos. Get sponsored for CE. I sponsored 10 students for the Dental Success Summit, 6 students recently for our in-person event in Philadelphia. There's so many people that want to help dental students. Pay attention, apply to be sponsored for things, go to the Dental Success Network, go to shared practices like Raheel just did, get sponsored for C, listen to webinars. It's so difficult to explain this to dental students because I know you're running through the gauntlet known as the Dental Student Hunger Games, but it can be better to get a B instead of an A on a test and develop relationships that can change your life. Memorizing the Krebs cycle and how the kidney works will not help you after dental school. So it doesn't mean not to pay attention to doing well in dental school, but the world of dentistry has changed so dramatically, even since I've become a dental student, with the amount of debt dental students have, with the ways DSOs and dental insurance have influenced our profession/industry, that paying attention and developing your dental core during dental school is essential. And realize it's all about ROI, relationships, opportunities, and the impact you make on others. Put as much time into your communication and relationship building as you do your crown prep practice and rememorizing the Krebs cycle. Put as much time into building relationships with people who can help you, mentors, advisors, faculty members. Go to CE courses, meet people. It takes that one magical person to help you find a job, that one magical relationship that helps you find a practice, that one magical relationship that when you have difficulty out there, you can text and ask them for help. So right off the bat, if you guys have been to webinars, I'm sure you guys have awesome people speaking. What I'm striving to do is constantly deliver actionable value to you. And I'm trying to role model this. When you talk to your patients, deliver actionable value to them. What I want to share at this time is I'm a big fan of FIPS, friend in your phone. I was texting with Raheel just today. We have opportunities. These are totally voluntary for you guys to learn from what we do. I highly recommend you take advantage of this because we bring in people who are doing this in the real world. Dr. Lincoln Harris is doing a Crown Prep webinar and Class 2 composite webinar for every dentist and dental student on earth on November 9th. If you want to watch in on that, just text link for Lincoln Harris to this number. And one of the biggest problems, Morgan is here from Dentist Job Connect, I'm going to share with you. Raheel, other people can undo their video. I mean, can I show that we can more than just Raheel and I can be staring at each other this entire webinar, deeply into each other's eyes.
We had one. Yeah, we got Tanner.
Yeah, Tanner, that's great. I know when I'm like have my screen shared, I can't see everybody, but this is a real life story from my phone. So I was on the treadmill this morning at 6 a.m. I got a message through this text community. Raheel's part of it. Here's what it says. This is real life. Hi, Paul. Can you post this anonymously for you? I requested a production report from my office. I've worked there as an associate for the last 7 months and I was denied. What steps should I try to go about to get this? It's not a big deal if I don't get one. It would be good to see what my options are. Thank you. So this is you guys. This is a new dentist 7 months into his career. And this is messed up. You should always see your production report. Always see your collection report so you can make sure you're getting paid properly. So you're making sure that you're billing things out. So I went and I posted this on Dental Nachos and said to the Dental Nachos community, do you think this is normal? And 40, 50 people said this is not normal. It's a red flag in your job. So one of the things that this awesome new dentist should have asked for during the job interview process is, will I have access to my production collection reports so I make sure they're accurate, I'm getting paid right. So our burn webinar is how to find a job that won't make you cry without burning your nachos. If you text that word to 215 burn to 215-798-9897, we'll text you back this webinar for free. I get a lot of spicy DMs in my phone. And one of the most poignant things, I was speaking to a young female dentist just a few weeks ago on a Saturday. She watched this webinar after she had a problem. And she said, if I watched your webinar first, I would have never taken this job. So we get to spend this hourish time together with each other but you can learn afterwards. So these are two gifts for you guys to be able to use to learn both clinical and finding a job type skills. So at this point, I always like to pause. Would anyone like to ask a question? Is there anything in the chat that I can respond to? Raheel, you can help me. And
Yeah,
is
nothing
anyone?
in the chat as of yet, but if anyone
All right,
wants to
good.
unmute themselves.
We're going to do it together. I know, but I have plenty. I was voted most talkative in high school, probably not a surprise. So I can fill up the entire time. But remember, guys, this is me telling you what I think you should know. That's super important, but you have me here. So I would love if you ask questions about what really matters to you, what you're thinking about. Should you do a GPR or AGD? What do I think? Work for DSO or private practice? When to buy a practice? My friend told me that getting a loan is hard. Any questions like that? So this here is Tilly from Philly, our golden doodle. And I was at the dog park early one morning. And one of the other dog moms saw my nacho sweatshirt and said this to me: I need to find a new dentist. My dentist of 30 years just stopped taking my dental insurance. I need to find a new dentist. My dentist of 30 years just stopped taking my dental insurance. Raise your hand if you have had a person or patient say that to you, a friend say that to you, heard that somewhere in the chat. So I know there's somebody out there who's had someone say this to them, even at a party. Oh, my dentist stopped taking my dental insurance. I see Leslie. Good job, Leslie. Thanks. Make me feel less alone out here. S here. I see her too. I don't know if I see her. Here's her name. So what do I say? Why is this happening? And who do we blame? So of all the things that are happening in dentistry, good, bad, and annoying, this is one of the biggest problems. Dental insurance, paying dentists less, even though procedures cost more to do. Dental insurance not allowing your generation of dentists to get paid as much as my generation of dentists. There are dental insurance plans that are no longer allowing new dentists to be paid as much as the dentists that are already on the plan. This is not technically an ageist problem because they don't let any new provider come onto the plan, but this affects new dentists the most. It affected my associate 4 years ago when she signed up for the same plan my brother and I were on. She was paid less than us. We tried to make it work. It was a financial problem. So what do I say? I'm in the moment. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I say, here, I found the person to blame. She's mean, she's rude, and she doesn't mess around.
Oh no, it's the Wicked Witch of dental insurance.
I'm going to reduce all of your fees.
But it costs more to run a practice.
I don't care.
So that is the Wicked Witch of dental insurance. And no matter what you do in this dental space, orthodontist, periodontist, prosthodontist, general dentist, oral surgeon, understanding how dental insurance works is one of the most important parts of your survival. Whether you're a fee-for-service, out-of-network, totally PPO. If you want to think about it this way, it is the nutrition of your dental practice career and dentist life. Why does it matter when you're applying for a job? I'll tell you. Sandy applies for a job at Dr. Salsa's House of Dentistry. And I say, hey, Sandy, I don't take spoiled guac PPO, but we want to make you busy. We want to get you experience. We will have you sign up to be in network, Sandy, as our associate, so you can see all of these patients. And Sandy doesn't ask enough questions. And the crown fee in my office is $1,100 for me. But spoiled guac PPO pays $600. See, Sandy, on her video's on now. She's worried. But spoiled guac PPO only reimburses $600 for Sandy's crown, and she's paid 33% of collections. So that means Sandy's only paid $200 per crown. It's a 2-visit procedure. It has a lab bill. And if you do not know how to ask these questions at the job interview, you will be taken advantage of. Morgan is on this webinar. She helps me with my Instagram DMs from Job Connect. And she screenshots and says, this person's asking if this is normal. They're not getting paid. Their termination notice is too long. They're in network with a plan that the owner's not in network with. So paying attention to this piece of what we're doing is what dental school should most definitely be teaching. So now I see some people who have questions. It's more important for you guys to ask questions. You can have access to every single thing I do at no cost as a dental student online. So I'd love to take this time to ask some questions. So look, I'll see if I can read them.
Yeah, I can.
Tanner, how long would you recommend working as an associate before acquiring and starting a practice? Awesome question. So here's how I'll share this. The story is the star. So is anyone an aunt or uncle on this webinar and they love having a niece or nephew, right? But what's the best part? You can give them back if they cause a problem. You don't own them. And I have awesome nieces and nephews, and I also have children. Having a practice is like having a 3-year-old child that never grows up. There's a lot of great parts to it. There's a lot of stressful parts. As an associate, you're an aunt or uncle. I have multiple awesome associates who are working with me now. We strive to teach them, share with them best practices, mentor them. They to go on to own practice, great. My sense in someone who does a lot of this is if I could give a good answer, I think working as an associate for 3 to 5 years is an ideal place before purchasing a practice. I know Raheel came from shared practices, and those guys bought practices while they were in high school. No one knows how they did it. In high school, they bought a practice. They weren't even dentists. They're just like, can we buy a practice? But live your life in the most. So it's really important to remember this quote for me. Dental implants are one of the best things ever invented, one of the most predictable products ever given to a human being, inside or outside of dentistry. They don't have a tooth, and you give them an implant, titanium root and a crown, and they chew on it for decades to eat food. But what do all dentists say? One time at implant band camp, I saw peri-implantitis. Most implants are awesome. A small percentage are awful. Most implants work well. A small percentage have problems. Do not base your life on small percentages. So shared practices, guys, and team there can may buy practices right out of dental school, and it will work for them. Then there's other people who associate for 15 years and regret not buying a practice. The most common I see is a 3 to 5 year time frame of being an associate. These are all stories. No one's done studies on them, but a great question for you there. Buying a practice too soon can be sometimes great for money, but not so great for morale. I'm not sure. Does anyone really want to sign up to manage 12 human beings in their dental circus? Because when you're a dental practice owner, between hygienists, assistants, front desk, you can easily be managing 6 to 12 additional people each day. And you guys did go to dental school, not what I would call the most fun 4 years of your life. So maybe take this awesome time to be an associate, make some money, learn, and have some fun in your life. Owning a practice is not going anywhere. If you're hypothetically looking to hire a new grad, what would I look for in the CV? So on the East Coast, I'm an enormous fan of general practice residencies and AGDs. One of the reasons is getting clinical reps early in your career is magical. Being supported out of your comfort zone is fantastic. I'll come back and do a whole hour on GPR AGDs, but does anyone follow Dr. Jordan Brown on Instagram out there? Raise your hand. So follow Dr. Jordan Brown. He's an amazing friend of mine, helps us with Job Connect. He has a whole guide on residencies. So he did an AGD program in Florida, and ask people who've done AGDs and GPRs about their experience before you decide to do one or not, because it's often like a year of paid CE on patients that you don't have to see again. Patients that you can call an attending over like me and be like, hey, Paul, I don't know which end of this impression coping's up. Can you show me? And I'm like, yep, I'll show you, no problem. You cannot do that in private practice. But if I was hiring a new grad on their CV, I really would look for a substantial amount of clinical reps in restorative dentistry, crowns, composites, standard stuff. I don't know if you guys realize this. Is anybody worried that you're going to look too young and people won't trust you as new dentists? Raise your hand if that's a problem. Well, you know why that's the case? Because you look too young and no one should trust you, okay? You wouldn't trust yourself if you were seeing yourself. So you need to be able to inspire confidence with words and experience. So when you can say things like, I was able to do 30 crowns in my residency or dental school to a private practice dentist, that's really meaningful. It's really hard to lie with conviction about dental stuff, so you just won't do it. So what happens is when they say, how many crowns have you done? And the answer is 5, it's going to come off of your body language. Even if you say, oh, I have some experience with this, it's great when you say, I was able to extract 300 teeth in my GPR or AGD or qualified health program. And if you do that in dental school too, great. So it's the number of reps that you are doing in your basic fundamental clinical procedures is what I would look for, coupled with some ability to communicate in a way that would make patients feel confident in you. When is the best time to start taking CE courses? ASAP. This second, ask for free ones, ask for discounts. Then right after dental school, it's tough. I have a question for you guys out there. Does anyone ever you ever say, oh, we went to dental school and we spent a lot of money, so we don't have any money for CE courses? Like, has anyone said, we're poor dental students, like bridesmaids, help me, we're poor, we can't afford CE courses. I've heard that, right? But then I go on Instagram, Raheel, and I see these same new dentists in Cancun, and I go, they're giving out free trips to Cancun now? Where did they get the money for that? So what I share with you is, find money for what matters. You found $500,000 for dental school. Spending $10,000 a year for CE in your first few years will be painful, and it will be worth it. How you get that $10,000, as an example, is going to be creative ways, but doing amazing CE early in your career, the right CE for you. Don't go to 32 veneer course CE your first year out of school. Extractions, bone grafting, simple implant placement, restorative dentistry. That is what you want to invest in as soon as possible.
Can I just add something, Dr.
Sure.
Goodman? I just wanted to say, especially as a dental student, a lot of CE courses are offering heavy discounts or free for dental students. So dental school is an awesome time to take advantage of CE because they're offering you discounts or for free.
So just find the time, find the energy, make the relationships. Should I be paid on adjusted collections, production, or collections of my associateship? So one of the things I'll share is one of my favorite topics is we pay a guaranteed salary to our associates no matter what, with a collection-based bonus. So I'll share with you how this works. This is the way I do it and how I recommend. I have Job Connect clients. Dentist Job Connect helps dentists find jobs for free like you, and has practice owners advertising on it. Now I see all these more camera people. I missed them before. Hold on, stop and share. Back to you. I want to see all your faces. Look, Louisa, there she is. Serena, Kevin, and Tanner. We still have a lot of people who don't care about me. Richard, you clearly don't care about me. Eric, don't care. Cassidy, I feel like I know that name, Cassidy Wang. You should put your video on. So this is probably one of the most important things I can share. I'm glad I'm sharing this through video. So I'm going to say that Kevin comes to work with me, Dr. Nacho's House of Dentistry. I'd say, hey, Kevin, here's how it works. You're going to work 200 days with us, and no matter what, I'm going to pay you $120,000. That is $600 a day, but think of it as a yearly salary of $120,000. There's Morgan from Job Connect. You can wave to everyone, Morgan. So $120,000 no matter what. I'm going to pay you as a W-2 employee. Being paid as an independent contractor as a general dentist can be a red flag. If you would like all of the answers to this test, Louisa, would you like the answers of the test of life? Would you like it? Would you like the answers of not crying inside? Sandy, would you like to not cry inside? Okay. Tanner, would you enjoy not being at your first job and want to quit on the first day? Would that be something you would be interested in? And then would you like all of these answers, Serena, at no cost to you? Would that be good? Well, then just go to thedentalamigos.com, put it in the chat. Rob Montgomery and I have spent hundreds of hours answering every one of these questions, okay? Hundreds of hours. It costs nothing. So next time you're on the treadmill or driving to class, instead of listening to music or some true crime podcast, put on the dental amigos and listen to this. But anyway, Kevin, $120,000 a year, no matter what, guaranteed salary, W-2 employee. And what that means is, Kevin, I want you to feel like you're getting mentored here and learning. I don't want you to feel any pressure about paying your rent or eating food. But of course, I would like you to earn more. Of course, I want you to earn more. So Ronnie, at the end of the year for Kevin, we paid him $120,000 no matter what. His collection bonus is 33% of his net collections, which is the amount he collects minus his lab fees. You don't pay the total lab fee. Don't agree ever to pay the total lab fee. It should be in line with your percentage. But let's say Kevin collects $600,000 and I'm going to pay him 33%. How much money is that, Raheel? Does anyone want to do quick math? A third of 600,000. How much?
200.
200. But how much did I pay him already, Louisa? 120, right? Kevin, I paid you 120, right? So on the last day, if you want to go and be a periodontist, you want to move out of the state, I would give you a check for $80,000. Does that sound like a good setup, Kevin? Now, if for whatever reason, I'm the owner, right? You only collect $300,000. Now that's only 100, but I paid you 120. I don't take the 20 back. You keep it and move on. Does that make sense to everyone? So if you see the word draw, that means I can take the 20 back, Kevin. I can ask for that 20 back. So when it talks about adjusted production or collections, the more important question to ask is, am I getting a guaranteed salary? Am I getting a guaranteed salary? Morgan Rake is one of my favorite people, and she works with me, but I don't think I could tell her, hey, if Job Connect makes money, we're going to pay you, Morgan. If not, we're going to give you nothing. How's that sound to you? It sounds insane because it is insane. And only us dentists agree to this nonsense. So adjusted production would be the ideal way to be paid. Guaranteed salary and collection bonus is okay. No guaranteed salary on collections is the worst, because as you see, Louisa, you're getting no guarantee. And if money doesn't come in on your procedures, you're also not making money. So it was a somewhat complex answer to an important question. Hopefully that gives you guys, if you just watch that webinar, it goes over all of the answers. Text burn to that number, put them in there. Morgan, it's 4 hours. It's awesome. How do you find a good GPR? Same way you really would find anything. You'd use someone like Jordan Brown's guide, follow Jordan and say, the Nacho guy said to text me the guide, ask people who did the GPR, go observe at the program if you can. You guys do like studies, you're dentists, you like studies. So I did a Nacho study and I asked on the group, what percentage of people who did a GPR were glad they did a GPR and would do it again? Over 95%. Dentists tend to be some of the most negative people on earth. I don't know if you've met them. Very negative, okay? It could be a sunny day and they're like, don't go outside. It could rain, okay? Not happy people many times. But if that group of people was like, I like my GPR, I love my GPR, I will do it again, pay attention to that group and ask them good questions about which program they went to find a good one. How to start advertising for a private practice, to recommend strategies that work for you. Hamed, is this as an associate or as a practice owner for advertising? You can feel free to put that in. Did you mean advertising as a practice owner? Well, practice owners, I mean, some of the ways we advertise is through digital means like SEO, marketing. Still, direct mail works really well for older patients for implants. Some social media marketing. So it's a hybrid of, like, if you, it might sound like an easy example, but if you go to the gym and just do bicep curls, you're going to come out looking kind of weird. So you got to do bicep curls, cardio, stretching, core activities, advertising the same way, combination of social media, direct mail, making sure your patients are excited, you're excited with your patients when they refer someone, online reviews. If you go to penningtondentalcenter.com, Morgan, you can put that in there, and Google us. We use a review platform. It's really great to have people say nice things about you. You guys can go give us a review for Dental Nachos if you think this was a fun lecture. People really love it. Why do people love when they get reviews? It's not about getting new customers. It's about feeling better about what they do. Someone, if your dental school instructor could leave a review for you and was like, Louisa, you did a great job on that crown prep on number 2. You barely could see it, and it didn't look like a total disaster when you were done. Good job. You would just be so happy inside to hear that. So,
that's funny that you mentioned that, because that's exactly what I did this afternoon. A crown prep on number 2.
Wow. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's just extract all second molar. Second molar should get fillings or implants. That's it. Crowns unnecessary. Too hard to see back there. We're getting really great questions. Pros and one says, what if you have multiple associates? How do they assign patients for each associate? So in our practice, that's an awesome question too. So I get DMs from dentists who hate their job. And I ask them 2 questions. And if they say no to both of these questions, I have to say, in the kindest way, it's their issue that they have this job. They did not do 2 things that are huge, messed up job prevention tips. 1, get a dental focused attorney to review your contract. If you get a contract and you have a dental focused attorney review it, and they say, oh, this looks like a good contract, Spencer, maybe you could dial down the restrictive covenant from 7 miles to 5 miles. But in general, this is a really good contract for you to sign. You're like, great, that was well worth the money. $750, $500, $1,000. That's worth the money to feel good about your job. But what usually happens is a dental focus attorney says, hey, Spencer, there's 14 red flags and we haven't got to page 2. Do you know that in contracts, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. If I just keep using Morgan. If Morgan, she went to Napa this weekend, so maybe she wants to be a professional wine taster. I don't know if that's a job, but maybe she wants it. So if she's like, hey, Paul, I would like to leave working for Dentist Job Connect and be a professional wine taster. Morgan would give 2 weeks notice, hopefully, out of being classy. She doesn't have to, but I have no power to do anything else to her. Has anyone ever left a job out there for whatever reason? You moved, right? Tanner, did you have to pay any money to the company when you left the job? Oh, you didn't? That's weird, because in dentistry, if you leave a job, Louisa, before your termination notice required in the contract, you may have to pay them $1,000 a day for every day you leave early. So if you have a 90-day termination notice, please don't sign that. It should be 30 days at most. And you leave, they may try to come after you for $1,000 a day for each day you leave early. Does that sound fair? Sound fair, Sandy? It doesn't sound fair, but this is why when you talk about 1, dental focused attorney, and 2, this about the distribution of patients, when you apply for a job, I don't care if your boyfriend lives across the country, your girlfriend lives across the country, you're trying to find a job on your phone, do not take a job unless you do this, or you might cry, okay? High level of crying. Oh, Dr. Paul Goodman, I know you're the nacho guy and you seem like a great guy to work for, and it sounds like you have a good office. How about this? I would like to come and observe at your practice for a day, not a clinical working interview, highly against those. I'll wear scrubs, I'll sign the HIP release form. I would like to come watch how your practice runs during a day so I make sure I'm the right fit for your practice. People cannot hide their true practice selves during a real game. They can definitely hide it at a Starbucks. Has anyone ever met someone on a date or a friend and they seemed nice and turned out to be a raving lunatic? Does that happen? Raise your hand. Could be a friend, doesn't have to be rent, okay? But what happened? They were so nice over the caramel macchiatos. Well, it wasn't their real life. They were giving their fake self to you, or their non-everyday self. So observing at a practice. So dental focus attorney, observe for a day. If you do not take a job, if you take a job without doing those 2 things, of course I'll help you, but I will be like, hey, Why didn't you listen? You were at this lecture, you were at this webinar. Don't be cheap about it. Don't be lazy about it, because it can cost you too much money and morale. Really great questions you guys have here. Questions are way better than my presentation. Dentalamigos.com. Pros and cons of working in private practice versus corporate dentistry. So I don't know if you guys want another thing from my phone on the way home in the car, but this person said, hi, Paul. First of all, has anybody ever gotten this length of like message and it been a good thing? Have you ever opened up a text message with 14 lines telling you how funny and awesome you are? No, it's usually their life's going sideways or they're mad at you. She said, I work for a private practice, but they're very intense. They don't have any rubber dams, all this stuff. I asked her how many jobs did she apply for? So number one way to not get a job that's going to make you cry is give yourself a lot of options. When should you start looking for a job? Day one of D1. When should you start applying? 12 months before you finish your thing. So if any of you are D1, all of you should be on Dentist Job Connect. All of you should be on Dental Town. All of you should be looking at jobs every day for context. You don't have to apply as a D2 without a license, but that baby is great over this. This is now my favorite person, Ronnie's baby. So everyone else, cameras off, just baby on. I'm finished with you, Louisa. Nobody needs you anymore. Or you too, Kevin. Just joking, but I'm glad you brought the baby on. So private practice versus a DSO. DSOs tend to have better benefits, better systems, 401ks, better structure, okay? They also tend to have unrealistic expectations of what a new dentist could do. So I want to share something. It's really hard. This is like one of those, like, I don't know if you guys ever saw Fight Club, where you're like the same person. If you didn't see the movie, I ruined it. I'm sorry. You had 20 years to see it, or 15 years to see it. So a lot of DSOs want to hire new grads, right? You've heard this, right? They go onto campus, they text people, they take Ben's here. They take Ben on a boat and they're like, Ben, please come work for this giant DSO. I'm not going to use any names, right? I want to ask you a question. Would you hire you right out of dental school? Would you be begging to hire you for your business? Okay. So why do you think DSOs hire so many new grads? Why do you think, Raheel?
Honestly, I don't know.
Good question. Good. That's good. It's okay not to know. Anyone else want to give an answer? Cassidy doesn't want to answer, or put her video on. Sandy, like, you guys aren't good at dentistry, right? That's established, right? You don't have experience and you're not good at what you do. I wasn't good at what I did. That's how it goes. But there's these businesses that are growing and they're like, we want to hire you, Serena. Why would they want to do this? They don't want to say why?
Because maybe new graduates can do all basic procedures, and
this is on the right track. I like this. They can pay you less, right?
Mhm.
They don't know any better. Okay. Here's the thing. They couldn't put this over on someone 10 years out of school, what they want from you. They couldn't. And it doesn't mean it's all toxic, but because you're desperate and you have all this debt, or even if debt is not everything, right? Just because maybe someone in your class didn't have debt doesn't mean going through dental school is not stressful. Doesn't mean they spent 4 years of their life wanting jobs. So it's not just about debt, but you spent 4 years of your life, you have debt, and you're desperate for a job. And they need licensed dentists. They need licensed dentists to stay in business. It doesn't mean they're all evil. It doesn't mean they're all bad. I work with DSOs. There's plenty of DSOs on Dentist Job Connect. But that's the difference between DSOs and private practice is this. They often have better systems and structure and unrealistic expectations for what new grads can do. Oftentimes you're left alone without anyone to ask questions to, not all the time. Private practice is like me and my brother today. Dr. Alicia is on vacation, but she would have been there with us. If her patient was crazy, she would walk into our office and be like, yo, Paul, my patient's crazy. What should I do? And I'd be like, that's just crazy Bob. It's what he does. Let me go tell him to calm down, right? We're all there together in an owner-operated world. So you feel many times, not all time private practice, we're putting our name on all the work because we're in there with you. So we're pretty much invested in your success. That's the ideal private practice. Doesn't mean they're all that way. The other thing is our associates can't do root canals. They don't really do extractions. They do general dentistry because we have a periodontist and we have an endodontist. So if your dream is to have an associate job where you're doing molar endo, I wouldn't be a good fit for you. So it doesn't mean that private practice is perfect. It's just, what's your personality type? This is the best question. I'm glad Morgan's on here, Morgan Rake. If you're at a job interview, please don't forget to ask this question. It's not even in the Burn webinar, okay? Because I need to make an updated one. When you're at the job interview, at some point, you gotta look at the person interviewing and go, I would like to know, or could you give me a heads up, how often will I be the only dentist in the practice? How many days a week will I be the only dentist in the practice? I don't care if they're paying you $250,000 a year. If that answer is every day, it's gonna be brutal, because we have Ronnie's awesome baby there, and a practice is like a 3-year-old child, and you guys don't really know how to do dentistry yet, and you don't know how to manage people. And if you're the only person on site, it can be incredibly stressful. Good. I think I got through these questions. High turnover. The best way, where Spencer asked about work-life balance, this is the best way to get a good work-life balance. Want to hear it? Give up on trying to get a work-life balance. Like abs. It's like abs for me, right? My life got better when I gave up. Didn't happen, right? Not everyone's as funny as me. I can say I'm funny. Other people have abs, but I'm not totally saying that, because that's not responsible information. It's finding a life outside of your operatory at each stage, whether you're an associate, a practice owner, that allows you to do something besides get sucked into the world of dentistry, because it can be an passionate and obsessive life. When you're a business owner that works on customers that go inside of your business, it can be very, very, very stressful. Barbers, hair salons, dentists, restaurants. If your customers are inside of a physical location, all of you guys right now are on the path to being dentists, but maybe some of you will shift careers. Maybe some of you do something different. I'm really glad I became a dentist. I think I would have been happy doing a lot of careers. I'm very mentally flexible. I think if I was an accountant, Raheel, there'd be accounting nachos. I think if I was an attorney, I would have invented attorney nachos. So I'm not really a good example of most dentists. I'm super mentally flexible. I probably could have done a bunch of different careers, but if I put myself into the dental world only, it's very vulnerable to have a job where you can't work remotely at all. It's not easy. And it's not about the pandemic. I'm just talking about, it's nice to get a break from seeing people someday. So it's just sharing with you, developing habits that are healthy outside of dentistry is a key part of your work-life balance. Common questions. It's not that I don't want to answer that, Ingrid. I put them all in the webinar, the Burn webinar, but it's, where's the job? Why do you need an associate? How am I going to be compensated? What procedures am I going to be doing daily? Definitely talk about your limitations. Hiring is challenging, and I'm a pretty positive person, but if someone's like, hey, if I was like, hey, can you work for Dental Nachos? Can you do Excel and make PowerPoints? And they can't do it, and then I hire them, we're at a tough time when we get to needing to make those PowerPoints. So if they want you to do endo, you can't be like, oh yeah, I saw an endo in the clinic once. That ain't gonna cut it in the real world, right? So if they want you to do a lot of endo, you're gonna have to say, hey, that's not my strong suit at this point. And you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. The most important skills for you to focus on in dental school, honestly, it's not what you think. It's not molar endo, and it's not implant surgery. It's becoming really good at crowns. I mean, Lincoln Harris is coming on November 9th. I hope you guys all block out your schedule, okay? Trying to make it late enough for my West Coasters, right? Not everything can operate on the West Coast, you people, okay? So I'll also have it on Nacho Flicks. He's going to talk about de-stressing class 1 composites, class 2 composites, class 3 composites, crowns. Those are the procedures I've become very efficient at. Why? Because most practice owners want to give those procedures to their associates so they can do other things. So if you can be an associate who can be really someone who's efficient with restorative, then you can grow. In addition, over here, I'd pick one lane to get good at. Implant surgery, that's a lane. Endo, that's a lane. Clear aligners, that's a lane. Aesthetic dentistry, that's a lane. Also not one I'd recommend early in your career. So sleep apnea, that's a lane, not early in your career. Extraction bone grafting, that's a lane. So pick one extra lane that you focus on, because being like kind of good at a bunch of things that as an associate is not as good as being really good at one thing. Like, I'm comfortable with extractions, I'm comfortable with bone grafting. I would love to do those for you. So hopefully that helped you out there. There you go. What percentage of production collection should we be shooting for when it comes to associate positions? How do we negotiate that? So what's interesting about that percentage number, it's always like Patrick Winston says, build a fence around your idea. And you got to be able to explain ideas quickly. I'll give you a few slides at the end about that. I don't mind if we go past the hour. I think everyone's sleeping here. But building a fence around your idea is this. Dentist Job Connect. Let's pretend Christian wants to hire an associate. Morgan Rake is on here. It says to Morgan and me, how does Dentist Job Connect work? I first explain what it's not. Hey, Dr. Christian, it's not free. There are free ways to find an associate. You can go on Dental Town, you can go on other sites, and you can post an associate ad for free. Dentist Job Connect is not free. Then I say, also, Dr. Christian, it's not $20,000, because high-level headhunting and matchmaking, you can be charged $20,000 as a finder's fee for an associate, and that can be totally normal. I've done that. Dentist Job Connect is like care.com of the job finding world. You pay monthly to advertise a position. There's no guarantees of success. It's $1,000 for 3 months. That's what Dentist Job Connect is. So I'm building a fence around my idea, telling you what it's not, then telling you what it is. When you're talking about collections and productions, I want to tell you what you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear 20%, okay? And it would be rare to hear over 40%. The most normal range for production and collections falls between 28 to 35%. So if you hear those ranges, they're in the normal. Of course, 35 would be better than 28, but it's just good for you guys to know what's a normal range with that. It's much more important, in my opinion, to have guaranteed salary instead of a higher percentage. You're new, you do not have patient relationships, people don't know you. You want to know when you're walking into work, you're going to get paid for being there. So I want to just see where we're at here at this. So my real dream was to play in the NBA. That failed. That is me shooting a three-point shot for real. So one of the things I can share with you is videos are so key to telling a story. So I want to prove to you that I really was good at shooting three-point shots, and I'm even good now, okay? So if I say, oh, I'm good at shooting three-point shots, Kevin, you're like, yeah, that sounds like he's just saying that about himself. I'm good at doing crowns. Then show a video or PowerPoint of a crown you've done. I can do class 2 composites well. Here is some post-op x-rays of ones I've done. So now I'm going to prove to you in 27 seconds and teach you something that I'm good at shooting three-point shots.
If I knock down this NBA length 3, all practice owners and DSOs are going to agree to pay their associates some type of income guarantee, because it is totally nacho nuts to expect your associates to work for free. Let's see how it goes.
See? Now you believe I can shoot a three-point shot, and told you that it's nacho nuts not to have a guarantee. In 2023, I would not accept a job without a guarantee. The hope of making money versus the risk of not getting paid is too high for me. When we talk, some of the things that Raheel asked me to share about, and some of it's like how you win this game of dentistry basketball, score points, is when you put all these things together, right? So you find this job, and it sounds pretty good, but then you're in the job and you're like, I got to convince people to trust me and then be able to do some work on these people. Now, was very lucky to do a multiple year GPR. I was 29 when I met this patient. This was over the pandemic, but this is putting together how your word skills work, how your clinical skills work, how your communication and mind skills work to help people change their lives. That's always first. If it doesn't help, it doesn't matter, but be proud to sell help. One of the weirdest things dental school does, raise your hand if you feel they make you feel a little bit weird about talking to patients about money. Feels a little weird to you, right? But they're charging you hundreds of thousands of dollars to go there. I don't understand. So you have to get comfortable in talking to patients about money, or else you're not going to be successful. You got to get comfortable talking to people about money. Even my awesome Morgan, who's on here, and she's new in her career, her comfort zone in talking to people about money will influence how successful she is as a person, because nothing happens unless people pay for stuff. But when you're a dentist and you can help them pay for chewing and smiling with confidence, to me, we should be so excited to do that, just like I was for this patient.
Hey, dentists and friends, it's Paul, Dr. Nacho. I'm sitting with one of my favorite people and patients on earth. We did a full mouth implant case back in 2008 when I was only a 31-year-old dentist. Came in today to get it for us to look at it. It looks awesome. Life-changing impact of dental implants. I'm going to ask Rick, what has been the best part of having these teeth?
Oh, I could smile anytime I want, and I can eat anything I want, and they feel like my real teeth.
That's just so cool. And if someone was saying, my patients, they're not going to go for it because it's too expensive.
So maybe you'll remember this in the future. Maybe you'll be able to do this with your patients at school. Don't violate HIPAA. I'm very afraid of HIPAA and the HIPPOs. I don't mess around with either. I don't know what you're allowed to do in school, but when you take videos, right? Who here now thinks I'm better at talking to patients and doing things in my office because you've met Rick on this video? Whose confidence in me has gone up already just seeing him on this video? Because you're getting what's called social proof. Okay. It's not me just telling you I'm funny. It's other people laughing at my jokes. It's not just me saying I can change people's lives. It's somebody whose lives I've changed sharing that with you. And this works in everything that you do. So if I was like, hey, Louisa, you should come to Super Dentist Boost. Some dental students did it last year. It's a $3,500 expense, but for dental students, we do it for $1,000. You should come. Do you want to give me your credit card now? Now, part of you I might have built up some goodwill and you might be inspired, but your dental student brain goes, it might stink. I'm not going to do it. It might stink. But if I say, hey, Louisa, here's Jack Polar, okay, who took Super Dentist Boost. Let's hear what he had to say. And then I just arm's length away and say, you watch Jack. And Jack said, hey, I'm a dental student. I have a lot of debt, but I invested in flying to Philly. I'm so glad that I did it because I learned things that will help me the rest of my career. That's the thing that will move you forward. So at a certain point, the words that you say stop meaning things, and the videos that you show or the social proof you show, that photo of the crown you did, the x-ray of the class 2 with good contours. But this is the key question to always ask people. And Morgan Rake was so awesome at our recent event. She did like 38 of these testimonials. And the key question is, what if someone was afraid to do this? What if someone didn't want to spend the money? What if someone didn't want to spend the time? What if someone was worried it wasn't going to work out? What would you say to these people? And this is exactly what I asked Rick.
Was the financial investment for you worth it?
Oh, without a doubt, 100%. I would do it again if I had to.
So what I can do with that video is I can help so many patients say yes to changing their life. That's the best part. And then the second best part is I can make so much money helping people. And when I say make so much money, it doesn't mean I make all the money and don't share it. What it means is I'm able to score points for the practice so the team can get raises, so we can expand, so we can survive. So then when we miss shots sometimes, this makes up for it. And not everybody says yes to it, but it's the key of me putting this together for you guys to help you frame building your skills in each segment. Is my associate job a car or boat, and want or need? Which dental practice should I buy? The biggest decision in my career. Do I want or need an associate? And then at some point in the bizarro white coat ceremony, they make a big deal about you people with the white coat. You haven't done anything, nothing, okay? Freaking pictures and outfits. They should be taking out these 68-year-old dentists when they hang up the handpiece. Those people have done something, right? So the bizarro white coat ceremony, one day you're gonna have to sell that practice. And I love that they make a big deal about your white coat. And I think it's awesome to make people early in their journey feel good, but no one does much for these people at the end when they sell their practice. So what I would like to do at this time, because it's been an hour of time, I'm glad to answer questions, but I did make one more thing for you guys. So I'm very proud to have done this in July. And I'm very grateful for Raheel to remind me. So what I did in June was I texted all 5,000 people in my text list. And I said, if you were graduating from dental school, what do you wish you knew? What do you wish you knew? And we put it all together. And some of it's, I wish they taught us more practice management. It's worth it to spend time looking for the right job than to sign on to a bad job. I wish someone had told me it's okay to care deeply and empathetically for your patients, but at the same time, they can't make their dental problems your personal problems. So I put all of this together, and if you text this, it will text you the whole list from the Nacho community of what people wish they learned earlier. And you don't have to figure out everything now. Sometimes it's just good enough to know that these things exist. Sometimes it's just good enough to know that someone told us here, my first 2 years were very difficult. No one wanted to mentor me. They just wanted me to work like a horse without any guidance. I didn't make any decent money. My advice would be to look for mentorship, take CE to hone my skills, and network. Don't be shy. So we have a rule at our Dental Nachos networking event. Morgan knows it. If you work on Team Dental Nachos and we have a CE event, this is probably one of the most valuable things I can teach you. If you work on Team Dental Nachos and we have a CE event, during that event, they're not allowed to talk to each other. When you guys go to your little conferences, and I get it, 5 dental students, you don't know anybody else. You do know that you just spend all the time yapping with each other. When you spend all week yapping with each other, you should say, we're not going to talk to each other this entire time. And if you do that and you go up and be weird to older people and medium-aged people and just say, hey, my name is Trexton. I would love to know about your role in dentistry. Maybe it's a sponsor. Magic will happen to you because that person's authentically telling us their life stunk early in their career and they didn't take the steps to make it better. And they hope you take those steps to make it better. So anyone can teach you about crown preps. You're great to learn. Teach you about endo, but someone telling you when you go to a CE event, do not talk to people you know will transform your life in the most magical way. You will meet someone, you will develop relationships with people that you don't have any chance to otherwise. Yeah, that's what I did for Raheel and his group. I don't know, all freaking these young skinny guys just sitting at the young skinny guy table. I don't know, being skinny and having no money. I don't know what are you guys talking about? We're all skinny and we don't have any money. Okay, enough. It's boring, right? We're done, right? So I think, like I said that to you guys, and you got to do it because it's this. Listen, like you don't have to go out and have wine with 4 people on a weekend if you'd rather watch Netflix. Who cares? Watch Netflix. That's great. But if you don't have a freaking job, you don't have a couch to watch Netflix on. That's scary. So I'm not telling this to you. Along the way, you'll make these magical friendships. Along the way, you'll make people make you feel better. It's actually not my primary goal in telling you this. My primary goal is so that you survive. My primary goal is so that you meet someone who goes, oh yeah, my dental school classmate is freaking from Tallahassee, Florida, and they need an associate. And you would have never known that if you didn't go up and talk to them. So yeah, free food too. So that basically, let's see, what is one thing you do differently coming out of school as a new dentist overall on business side? Really excellent question by Eric. I would have taken patient communication classes that exist now, like Toastmasters, what Chris Phelps teaches, what I teach, and I would have gotten worse grades on tests for it. Your ability to communicate with people early in your career, I would have killed me. I was the top of my class. I wasn't the bottom of my class. I did really well on the academic stuff. I had more difficulty with like the lab wax up and stuff, but I would freaking sometimes try to freaking practice that bite rim over and over and over and over and over again. I would have gone back and been like, that's enough. Whatever grade I get, I'm going to spend some time working on my communication skills.